Hi, this is Ashima. Just waiting for some members to come and join us. This live video is about nonverbal. I can't see. If you're joining us, just say hi so I can have a look if I can just see if anybody's joined us. Okay, let's just try starting doing the NVR paper now. Or we should wait for some members to come and say. I think so. There are some members who are joining us. Hi, this is Ashima again. Should I start with the non-verbal paper or should I wait for some members to come and join us? Remember, this paper is just wanted to tell you something about this paper. This is the CGP paper and I put on the group. Please have a look at the paper first and make sure that your child tests the paper before coming live with us. I hope this video will help all the children how to do NVR. Let me just get ready with the paper till the other members come and join us. So I can just focus on the paper. That's the NVR paper. This paper is, you can also download the paper for CGP website. And the CGP website is really good for the free sample papers. I like CGP papers because they give you a full explanation for how to do these papers. I'll just wait for some other members to come join us so I can start doing the paper with you guys. I have made some circles to make myself to explain you guys easily, about this paper. This is the sample paper from CGP and this is the GL assessment. I think so there are members joining us now. I just want to say hi to you all. Should we start doing the paper now or should we wait for more members to join? Let's wait for 1 or 2 minutes for more members to join. I was saying that the best thing for this paper is if your children have done this paper, just download the paper from the CGP website. This is a GL style paper. GL assessment is basically you have GL assessments for Kent schools and Newstead. If you are looking for Newstead grammar schools, you'll have the GL style papers, the NVR. Okay, I think so there are some members who joined us. We can start doing the paper now. If you look at the first one, it tells you it's section 1. We'll go by section. I'll explain you each and every section, how to go about it. The section 1 tells you find the figures like the first two. So your children need to make sure to find the shapes which are absolutely same like the other two. If you look at the question number 1 in this, the question number 1 tells you about we have some triangles in that. So we know one thing, the figure which is the third one should be a triangle. So option A, C and E would be, your child would mark that cannot be A, C and E. So the next thing your child should make sure to look at, there's a pattern going on. If you look at the pattern, you have lines, then you have shaded, the black shaded. Though the third figure, if I was your child, I would look for something which has lines. So we had eliminated A, C and E because it cannot be that. So the next thing your child is looking at the lines, and we need a figure which should be a triangle with a flat side. So if I look at the flat side, it will definitely will be B. It cannot be D. So this is the way how we do number 1. So if you look at number 2 now, in number 2, what are we going to look? If we look at the small circles, the small dots in that inside the circle, they are increasing. That's the first thing which come in notice. When I look at this figure number 2, the shape number 2, I look at the dots. The dots are increasing. And the second thing, I'm looking at the lines. If you look at the lines in question number 2, the lines are also increasing. So the next thing, I know that, and one more thing I notice is, if the inside of the circle has 3 lines, if the circle, the big circle has 3 lines, I'm looking at figure number 2, question number 2, sorry. If you look at the 3 lines, if you look at the circle has 3 lines and it has 3 dots. So inside the circle, the dots and the lines are absolutely same. If the circle has 4 lines, the inside circle will also have 4 dots. So we know that we are looking for 4 dots and we are looking at 4 lines. So your child will eliminate, because we need 4 lines. So 1A is definitely going to be eliminated because it has 3 lines and 2 lines and 3 small circles. Small dots. So that one is eliminated. B is also eliminated, cannot be that. D, the same way, it cannot be that. We are looking for 4 dots and 4 lines, because that's what we are looking for in the next one now. It should be absolutely same. So if you look at number C, is the only option which has the same thing, like this big circle should be absolutely same, big circle, and the circle inside that, the dots and the line should be same. So we are looking at same dots and same lines inside the big circle. So that's why I have done number C for you guys. So if you look at number 3 now, in this is very interesting. We did this in our tuition also, and the kids really got confused with this one. In this one, what are we looking for? I'm just looking if any of the parents, if any of the children are there, they can tell me what are we looking at number 3 here. In number 3, if you look at, we have a black shaded, we have a without shaded one, and the third one is which has slightly shaded. So in this number 3, we are looking at the figures. They must have a black shape at the front. So all of them, if you look at number 3, all of them has a black shape in front of them. So that's the reason I did number D. So we need to look at the shapes which have one black shape in the front. So that's the reason C cannot be there, and A cannot be there. That's why the children need to eliminate the ones they think are not making any sense. You should make that one. So we are looking at the shape in number 3. We are looking at a shape which is, in number 3, we're looking at a shape which has a black shape at the front. So that's the reason we eliminate the ones we don't think make more sense. So the best thing of doing non-verbal is to eliminate the ones the children don't think they have, and then choose from the ones they think make more sense. Now we are in question number 4. There's some members who joined us. So it's question number 4. I think so. All of you can have a look at, yeah, you can see now. In question number 4, what is happening here? In this, if you look at the shapes and the arrow, in this, there are 2 things what's happening. We are looking at the shapes and we are looking at the arrows. In this, all shapes, all of them have 2 shapes in them. If you look at that, there are 2 shapes in that. All the shape, there are 2 shapes, and there's one arrow pointing up. We are looking at 2 shapes and the arrows pointing up. So we need to look at for 2 shapes. So that's why I will eliminate A, because it has 2 shapes should be opposite direction. Remember that. In this number A, the shapes are on one side. Eliminate that. C, the shapes, there are 3 shapes in one side. We don't need that. I need to eliminate that. So we need 2 shapes opposite we need in this one, we are basically looking for, we should have two shapes and an arrow pointing up. We should have two shapes and an arrow pointing up, not pointing down. So that's why D and E are also eliminate and C is also eliminate, because C has three shapes on one side. We need two shapes on different sides and the arrow pointing up. So that's the reason I choose B. We are on question number 5 now. In this one, I've seen kids really get struggle with the 5th one, and they say, oh miss, I don't know how to do this one. This is so confusing. In the 5th one, the children should look at what's happening to the shape. The thing with the children don't note in this one is the point, the dot, sorry, not the point, the dot. Where you have the larger shape, you can see two small shapes and a big shape. Where you have the big shape, I can see a small dot in number 5. In this one, the children need to look at a shape which has a dot there. So the big shape should have a dot. And in this, we are not looking at how many shapes are there. 2, 1, 1, 2, whatever it is. We are not looking at that. So all figures must have a dot directly next to the middle of the flat side of the large white shape. So basically the white shape should have a dot next to it. That's the reason I choose B in this one. Now we are in question number 6. In this one is really interesting. I mean, I always see kids really get, they struggle with number 6 in this one. And the best thing for looking at number 6, in this, whatever shape you see, we have whatever shape you have, the small shape, like you have a triangle of this big shape, the small shape is having the same thing, has the triangle in the side. So basically we are looking at the same shape which has the same big shape with a small shape in it. So in number 6, and one thing is they're overlapping each other. I mean, all the big shape is, the small shape is overlapping the big shape. So we need to look for a shape which has a large shape with the same small shape overlapping it on the left hand side. And one thing we have noticed, they are overlapping not on the right side, but they're overlapping on the left side. So you need to make sure the shape is overlapping on the left side. So we need to look at, if you're looking for a triangle, look for a big triangle and a small triangle, and they're overlapping on the left side, not the right side. So when I looked at this one, the only possible answer for number 6 I saw was B, because it has a circle and we have an overlapping circle, and we have it also on the left side, what we were looking for. That's the reason I had chosen in number 6, I've chosen B. Now we are on the 7th one. In this one, the best thing is, I've seen kids struggling in this one. In this one, any idea? I have members who have joined me now. Any idea why it's E? Why did I not choose C or something else for this one? Any guesswork in this? Okay, I think so. Everybody wants us to do it, so let's do it now. We are on number 7. If you guys have just joined us, we have done 1 to 6, section 1, sorry. In number 6, we have, yes, I've done number 6 also. Now we are on number 7. In number 7, what we are looking at, in number 7, we need to look at the sides. The big shape must have a large shape with, the big shape has 5 sides. So if you count them, if I count them, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The shape 1 has 5, the shape 2 has 5. So we need to find, in this one, we need to find a large shape with 5 sides. And the raindrops mean, children ask me, what should we call them? So we're looking for a large shape with 5 sides, and the raindrops in the number of shapes and dash outlines inside the 5-sided shapes. So basically we are looking for a 5-sided shape in this one. So if I look at the 5-sided shapes and I'm looking at the raindrops are also decreasing. If you look at that, in the first one we had 3, in the second one we had 2. So the third one will definitely be 1. So that's the reason we need to eliminate A, C and D, and we need to look which one it is. We are looking, remember, in number 7, we are looking for a large shape which has 5 sides. And we are also looking at the raindrops which are decreasing in the shape. So that's the reason we had chosen the one which you see, it has a circle there, the E. So it's number 8 now. Can you have a look? You can have a look at number 8 now. In number 8, what are we looking at? In this is really very interesting. If you look at number 8 is really interesting. What can you see in number 8? In number 8, I can see that there are lines, there are dots, and there are small lines, there are big lines, there is shaded. So in these shades, we need to make sure what's happening. In this one, if you see, the first shape in number 8 has 3 dots in it. And if you look at the lines on the bottom, that also has 3 dots. So whatever is happening in the shape, it's what's happening in the top of the shape is happening in the bottom in the shape and also in the middle of the shape. So if I see 3 lines in number 8, 3 lines, and in the bottom I can see 3 lines, and I can see 3 dots also on the top. So basically all figures must have the same number of lines at the bottom and the number of dots at the top. There must be black and white dots at the top. So basically we need to look absolutely same. If we are looking for 2 lines and the dots are also, if you look, the same dots should be in the shape. That's the reason it cannot be A, because A has more lines than the dots. B also has the same thing. Only the option which I feel is comfortable in this one is D, because it has 3 lines, 3 dots and 3 small lines in the bottom. So that's the reason I choose, in number 8, I choose D. Can you see now? So it's number 9 now. In number 9, what are we going to look at in number 9? In number 9, in this we need to count how many, in this one, the figure, we need to count what figure has. Is in number 9, the first figure has 1, 2, 3 sides. So inside the figure you have 2 lines. Whatever sides of figure you have, the lines are less than that, 1 less than that. So we are looking at that in this one. So if you look at number 9, it has 3 lines. Inside has 2. The figure has 3 lines. Inside you have 2 lines. In the next one, it has 1, 2, 3, 4 lines, and the figure inside has 3 lines. So we need to look at the same thing, what's happening. So it cannot be E, definitely. And if you look at A, it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and inside you have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inside you have 4. Inside we are looking for something which is similar, which has the shape. The figure should have whatever shapes have. Basically, the all figures must have 1 less inner line than the shape. So we were looking for that one. That's the reason I choose B, because B has how many lines? The figure must have 1 less inner line than the number of sides. Sorry, how many sides? We are looking at the sides in this one. So in number B, it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the inner one has 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a perfect one what we are looking for. And the last one in section 1 is number 10. So we are almost done with one section in this one. And I again want to thank the people who have joined us for the session. In this one, we are looking at the shaded part of the two inner shapes must equal one whole inner shape. So basically we are looking at the figures. If you look at the figures of them, the shaded part of the inner shape must be equal to a whole circle, whole inner shape. So in this, we are looking for that one. That's the reason I choose E in this. So we have finished section 1 and we'll be starting to do section 2 now. If you don't know what we are doing this is a live session for NVIA, and I'm going through the paper with you guys for your kids to explain your kids how to do this paper. Section B is a really nice one. The best thing for the kids to do is to look at the example, how to do it if they are new to them, new for NVIA. And when you do practice with the NVIA, the kids come to know what they are doing. And NVIA, the best practice is each section should be timed if you are doing GL. So each section should take you, your kids should be timed for, like there are 12 questions, you should time your kids for 6 minutes for each question. Not more than 6 minutes. So we are on section 2 now. In this, we need to complete the series. We need to complete the series in this one. I always tell the kids in my tuition for these ones, basically you're looking for rotations in this one to see if the figures are rotating or what's happening with the figure. And basically in these ones, it's rotation. The kids should always look for rotation for these ones to complete the series, because this is something you have in GL and CEM, both the boards. Sorry, both the entrances have this. So if you look at the first one, it's complete the series. The first one, what's happening? Yeah, let's start now. I welcome all the people who have joined. We are on section 2 now. We have completed section 1. If you are late, you can watch the live and see if you have missed anything. So in section 1, what's happening to the circle? If you look at the circle, it looks like it's rotating, because if you look, it's definitely rotating, because if you see the front of that, the black and the shaded one, both of them are rotating. For in this one, I normally tell the children to see the rotation of the inner one. In the circle rotates 90 degrees clockwise in each series square. So the circle, the figure is not doing 90 degrees. Only the front of the shape is rotating 90 degrees. So we need to look at that. And that's the reason I choose E, because the rotation is 90 degrees in this one. And in this one, if you look at, they are identical. What's happening in number 2? In number 2, we need to look at, this is such a cute shape they have made. In this, for this shape, you're looking for this, the whole series square reflects each other, across each other. If you look, they are reflection. If they are facing each other, and they are, I'm looking at this one here and this one here. If you look at these two, they are facing each other. So we need to look at something which is facing each other. So that's the reason I choose E. So that's the reason, sorry, C. I choose C, because if I put C there, it's reflecting. It reflects across each other. The whole series square reflects each other each time. So that's the reason I choose C, not any other one. And it should be identical. If you look at them, they're identical shapes looking at reflecting each other. So that's the reason we choose C in this one. Let's look at number C now. In this one, what's happening? In this one, I would definitely tell the children to look at the inner circle, the small circle, the shaded circle, the black shaded circle, the without shaded circle, there's lines there. So basically what's happening in this one, all the other circles move up one row in each series square. So if you look at the circles, they are moving up one series square. If I look at the black one in the first one, the black one goes up in the second one. If I look at the black one, the third one, the black one goes down now. So what's happening? If your child would have got really confused if they look at this one. So basically all the circles are moving up one row in each series square. When they reach the top, they go back to the bottom in the next series square. So this is what's happening. That's the reason I choose C in this one, because I need something. Because if you look at the fourth one here, this one here, I need a circle. The black one should be in the third row. Are you getting me? It's 1, 2, 3. It should be in the third row. That's the reason I choose this one. It goes on the third row. We need the black one on the third row. The black one is basically moving up rows. And that's the reason we choose this one. Now we have number 4. Okay, in this we are looking at the cubes. The best thing of cubes is I keep telling the kids to label them. We can do another video in which we can tell you how to label the cubes. And basically when you label them, you see them in a way, when they label one side or the other, like 1 is always opposite the 3, 2 is opposite 4, and 4 is opposite 3, 6, like this. They opposite each other. In this one, the cube turns on one face in each other square. The front cube faces becomes left. The front cube face becomes the left hand cube face, and a new cube face appears at the bottom. So you have a new design, a new cube face. Basically what they're trying to explain you that is that the cube new face appears at the front. So at the front you have a new cube face. So the one you're looking at, this one, it's a shape of a design. I might say a design or a shape. Let's call it design. A design which is not in any of the ones. Any of the ones means not in this one, not in this one, not in this one, and not in this one. So we need to look at a design which is not in any of these. So that's why you cannot have B here. You cannot have, again, you cannot have E here. So we are looking for a new design in this one, new shape design in this one. So that's the reason we choose A. Now we are on question number 5 in this one. In this one, I wanted to ask the kids, that's why I circled 2, because I want the kids to tell me the answer for this one. If any of the children have joined me, if you can tell me for number 5, what do you think the answer is? A or E? Any ideas? I can see some members who have joined us. Can you tell me what the answer is? What's happening here? In this one, number 5. No. There's no kids are here. Okay, let me continue then. In number 5, basically what's happening here, in each series square, the gray square in the previous series square becomes white and one of the black square becomes gray. If you look at what's happening in this, again they are moving, the squares are moving up and down. So we need to make sure what's happening in each of them. In this, each series, the gray square, if you look at the gray square in the previous one, in previous shape, basically, that becomes white. It's becoming white in that. And then one of the black square is becoming gray. Black is becoming gray, and the gray in the previous square is becoming white. Gray is becoming white and black is becoming gray. So they are all changing colors. So basically we are looking at the colors, what colors they are changing. So that's the reason I marked 2. I just wanted to ask if there's some kids in here who have joined us to give me the answer. That's why it's A. Because they all are changing colors. If you look at all the squares in this one, in number 5, are changing colors. So that's the reason we choose that one. I chose E. Now we are on question number 6. If you look at question number 6, we can see a lovely figure, lovely shape again. What's happening here? I can see some arrows pointing up and down. So what are we looking at number 6? Again, if you've joined us live right now, I tell you in this one, we are doing section number 2, that's complete the series. In complete the series, the best thing for the kids is to look at what's happening. It's normally in complete the series, you need to look at rotations, 45 degrees, 90 degrees, and you need to look at the shape, what's happening. The shape, you cannot add a shape in this one. So it's basically you need to look at these things in this one. So in number 6, the 4-headed arrow shape, if you look at the arrows, they are rotating. I can see all the arrows are rotating. So how much do you think they will be rotating? So basically the arrows are rotating at 45 degrees in this one. It cannot be 90, because if an arrow rotates 90 degrees, it should rotate like this, like a right angle. But if you look at this one, it's rotating half of it like this. So if it's rotating half of it, that would be 45 degrees. So we need to look at the arrow which is rotating half of it. The black, and its rotation is the first thing happening in this one. And what's happening to the dots? If you look at the black dots, the dots here, the dot is moved down there, then on the side, then on the top. And now we need to look at the dot, because it's gone on the top, it'll come somewhere on the side, it'll go that side or this side. So the dot is also moving next to the shape. The arrows are rotating in this 45 degrees and the dot is moving from one direction to the other. So the black dot moves anti-clockwise round the corner of the series square. Wherever the square is moving, you will look at the dot is moving side to side. So the shape is rotating, the arrows are rotating 45 degrees and the dot is rotating and anti-clockwise, is rotating anti-clockwise. And the 2-headed arrow shape gets smaller in each series square. And the shape is also getting smaller. The arrow is also getting smaller. The 2-headed shape, the shape is also getting smaller when with the arrows going left and the arrows rotating 45 degrees. That's for number 6 now. Now we are on number 7. In number 7, what's happening? If you look at this, basically, I think so, yeah. In number 7, the circle in the bottom left corner gets bigger. If you look at the circle is getting, circle gets bigger in this one. The circle in the bottom left corner, once it definitely becomes bigger, gets bigger, and the center circle gets smaller. The center circle, that one gets smaller. So in one, we are looking for a circle which is bigger, and another one, we are looking for the circle which is smaller. The 2 circles alternate colors between black and white. And if you see the circles, there should be one black, one white, one black, one white. So we have this pattern going on here. One black circle and one white circle. And one of the circle is big, one of the circle is small. And 2 circles alternate colors between black and white. The star gets an extra point in each series square. If you look at the star, it gets an extra point. It gets one extra point in each series square. So this is the thing what we are looking at, this one. Now we are on question number 8. Again, if you have joined us live right now, I say that you need to look at rotation in this one. In complete the series, I keep saying the kids, the first thing you need to look at is you need to look at the rotation, how they are rotating. Basically, they are rotating 45 degrees, 90 degrees, and it's very rare. It can also rotate anti-clockwise, clockwise. So these are the things you need to look at when you have complete the series. So we are on question number 8 now. In this one, again, what's happening? The head, if you look at the inside shape, I can see the inside shape, the hatching shape inside, that is rotating. Now, how much it is rotating? It cannot be 90 degrees. If you look at that, it cannot be 90. So the hatching rotates 45 degrees anti-clockwise in each series square. So where the square is, if you look at this, it's rotating like this, then it's going like this, then it's going up. So it's rotating. So basically, you are looking at a shape for rotation in this one. The hatching rotates 45 degrees anti-clockwise in each series square. The raindrops, if you look at the raindrops, what's happening to the raindrops? The raindrops are rotating 90 degrees. So inside the raindrops, I can see them, they're rotating 90 degrees. So the hatching is rotating 45 degrees, and the raindrops, that's the main thing we need to look at this one. The raindrops are rotating 90 degrees in this one. And again, if you look at the colors, I can see the colors is also changing now. And clockwise, alternate between being white and transparent. And the color is also changing. That's what I'm saying, becoming more transparent now. If you look at the figure 1 to figure 3, what's already given to you, if I look at them, the first one is little transparent. The second one doesn't look, it's not transparent. And number 3 is transparent. And I will also say that there's another pattern going on. If you look at this, it's transparent, non-transparent, transparent, non-transparent. So the next one, the raindrop, I'll be looking for the one which is non-transparent. So that's the one, non-transparent, and the one which is rotating 90 degrees. So we need to look at two things in number 8 figure. We are looking at the raindrops, which are non-transparent. So B and C and D, all of them are being eliminated because they are transparent ones and they cannot be. So from that, we need to look from A and E. And remember, in this, we are looking the one which is rotating because we know that this figure is definitely rotating. So that's the reason we are looking for the one which is rotating, and the best possible answer for this one is A, which I've marked. So we are on number 9 now. Again, we have some arrows coming, joining arrows and shapes next to the arrows. So what's happening here? I can see there are 2 types of arrows in this one. If you can see the figure completely, yes, you can now. In number 9, what are we looking at? In number 9, if you see again, and I keep telling in these series, if you have complete the series, please look at the rotations in this, because definitely 60% of questions in this one is on rotation, and your channel should know what the rotations the figure is happening. The figure is doing what rotation. So in number 8, we have done. Now we are number 9, and I'm looking at the arrows now. In this, again, there are 2-headed arrows. You look at, there are 2-headed arrows in them, and they are rotating. The arrows are rotating 90 degrees in each series square. The line with the square and the circle rotates. And you look at the circle inside, the circle is also rotating. The small circles next to the arrows, they are also rotating with the arrows. Whatever figure you see, all of them are, if something happens to one of the figure, the other definitely will happen to that one. You cannot expect only one change to happen in a particular figure. So there are more changes will happen. So in number 9, there are 2-headed arrows, rotates 90 degrees in each series square. The line with the square and the circle rotates 45 degrees clockwise each time. The circle swip colors in each series. Though the circle is also, if you look at the circle, that rotates. Whatever is on the bottom comes on the top, and the top comes on the side. So The circle is also rotating and changing colors, same like the arrow. So that's the reason we need to see which one is the best option here. That's the reason we choose C in this one. The last one, sorry, the last one in this one is number 10. If you have just joined us, we are doing the CGP. You can't see the full one. You can now. We are doing the CGP paper, and I'm telling you how to do the explanation of this paper. Now it's question number 10 in this. In this one, what are we looking at? Basically, in this one, we are looking at, we have the column with only 2 dots move one. In this, if you look at the dots, again, the small dots are moving from one side to another, or they're coming in the middle, or they're coming on the side. So again, we need to look what's happening. The column with only 2 dots move one place left in each series square. So if you look at the dots, they are moving on the left side of each series square. Each square, and the white dot moves one place to the right. The white dot is moving to the right, and the other two dots move one place left in each of one. So again, we need to look at the dots, what's happening in them. That's the one I choose A in this one. That's the best option. Now we are going to do section 3 in this one. We have completed 2 sections. I hope the people who have just joined us know that we are doing CGP paper. That's the GL style. I just told people who have just joined us. We have completed 2 sections in this. Now we are on section number 3 on this one. We are almost halfway. We have 6 sections and we are on the 3rd one. So the 3rd section is find the figure like the first 3. So in this, you need to look for the figure, what's happening in this. In this also, rotation might happen. And the shapes are almost similar to the ones which are already given to you. You normally will be given 3 or 4 shapes in this. You need to find the 5th one or the 3rd one in this one. So in this one, the first one is really easy. And the kids will be able to do that one this is the one they all prefer doing it really fast. And if you joined us now, I tell you that you should be giving 6 minutes for 12 minutes questions for non-verbal. And we are on the section 3 in the CGP paper. If you have not download the paper from the website, I have put the paper on our group also for you guys to have a look. So in number 1, I've chosen A. That's really easy, and the explanation is symmetry. The children need to look a shape with a line going through them and a line of symmetry. So they basically, line of symmetry is, you look at this, is the line which divides 2 shapes. It's called the line of symmetry. So that's the why it's number A. So number 1 is very easy. It's done. And in number 2, in this one, all figures must be made of 2 straight lines and 2 curved lines. If you look at them, there are 2 straight lines in the figure and there are 2 curved lines. So basically we are looking at the shape which has 2. This one is a little confusing. The kids basically get really confused. They're doing number 2. In number 2, we need to look at the shape which must be made of 2 straight lines. You should have 2 straight lines in the shape, and you should also have 2 curved lines. 2 curved lines means basically the line should be a curve in them. So that's the reason we choose D in this one. That was really easy. And then number 3 also, what's happening in 3? This is something, if I look at the shapes now, if you look at this one and this one, this is shaping this side, and that shape is that side. They look really identical. If you look at them, they're identical shapes. So all figures must be identical apart from rotation. All of them must be identical. So we are basically looking for the shape which is identical. Same, identical basically means shape which are same. So that's the reason we are looking for a identical shape in this one. That's why we choose we choose A, because A is identical to your shape number 2 is identical to shape number. This shape here is identical to this, looks identical to this one, and this looks to this one. So one shape should be identical to the other one. Now we are on number 4 in this one. I think you can have a look. This is really easy. Now this is an easy section and the kids will be able to do it really, really fast without anything. In this, all figures must be gray with one white quarter. So all the shapes are gray. You look at all of them are gray and only little bit of the portion is white. So we need to look at a shape which is gray, or we would say another way of saying is all the shapes should have more of the shape part should be gray and very little part should be white. That's the reason we choose C. And if you look at the other shapes, E cannot be, D cannot be, it's black. It has more black in it. B has more white in it. A has the same thing, more white in it. We are looking something which is similar, has more gray and less white. That's the reason we choose number C. Now we are on number 5 in that one. In number 5, again, this is something really easy. The kids will be able to do it really fast. I can see the shapes. I can see a line crossing the shapes. So basically number 5, all figures must have a line which crosses both shapes. So there should be a line which should cross both your shapes. That's the reason we choose E. And the shape, whatever you choose, remember the line should, if you look at the line here, the line is between both the shapes. So we are looking at the lines in number 5. We are looking at the lines. All figures must have a line which crosses both the shapes. So it should be crossing both the shapes, not only one shape. The line should be crossing both the shapes. That's the reason we choose number E in that. Now we are on number 6. In this, I can see there's again arrow is there, and I can see a shape there. In number 6, in all the figures, the number of sides of the overlapping shapes must add up to 11. So all of them should add up to 11. What do you mean by add up to 11? Because I have seen this question was the one in my tuition the kids used to, they were really getting confused with this one. And I was telling them, if I count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So add up both the shapes should have, if you add both the shapes should end up to be 11. So that's the reason in number 6 we choose D. Because if you look at the shapes, some of them were 10, some of them were 6. They didn't add up to be 11. We are looking for something which is add up to 11. We are number 7 now. If you look at number 7, I can see a dotted shape. I can see a different shape, a non-dotted shape. So in all the figures, the shape with the smallest number of sides must have a dashed outline. Or I'll say dash outline means this one, which I was saying dotted, but they call it dash outline. So basically in this one, what they are looking for, all figures, if you look at the one, this one has 1, 2, 3, 4 sides, and the one which they're saying dotted has 1, 2, 3. So they have less than the other shape. So basically that's the thing you're looking for number 7. You're looking at the smallest sides, which one has the new shape. I'll call it a new shape. And if you see the answers, they call it a dash shape or something like that. Oh, and now we are number 8. Number 8 is really nice. What's happening here? I can see the lines. I can see a shape. I can see a line. I can see some crosses. So in number 8, basically I will look. If you look at the sides of the shape and you look at the lines on the shape, they're absolutely same. The first one, if you look at the first one here, it has 1, 2, 3, 4 sides, and the lines are 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 lines. So they're absolutely same lines at the shape. So basically we are looking at something similar with the sides of the shape with the lines. So we are looking at the lines, we are looking at the shape, the sides of the shape and the lines. So that's the reason we choose E, because if you look at the other ones, they don't make more sense. They don't make sense. That's why you need to eliminate them and see which makes more sense. Now we are on question number 9. This is the one I think the kids will struggle a lot. Again, in this one, you need to look at the arrows. All figures must have a large arrow shape with 10 sides. So basically in this, all shapes must have the arrow has 10 sides in this. A large arrow shape with 10 sides with a 4-side black shape inside it. So all of them have, if you look at the arrow, if this one has an arrow and anything else, they should, if you count them, they should, they should have 10 sides and with the 4-side black shape inside. And the inside, if you have 10, the inside shape will be 4. So 10 is to 4. So basically we are looking at the shape with 10 and the inside shape we are looking for 4 sides. So in this, again, you need to make sure what's happening and what you're looking for. Now we are on number 10. Number 10 is really nice one. I would say not easy, but good one. In all the figures, it must be possible to arrange the shapes into a square. If you arrange them, if I make this a shape, if I make them, I will get a square. All of them, they will turn up to a square, and there must be at least one gray and one white shape. And all of them, if you look at them, there's a pattern. Again, there's a pattern going on. We have one gray shape and one white shape. And all of them, when you see it, they are turning up to be a square. So that's the reason we choose E. Because we want the shape to turn up to be a square. Remember what you're looking for. And with this, section number 3 is done. Now we are on section number 4. And that section is odd one out. Kids really like this section. And they need to find which one is the odd one out. Number 1 is very visible. What we are looking for? We are looking for an arrow with a dot in it. Only D is the one which doesn't have it. So eliminate that. D is the odd one out. In number 2, what are we looking for? In number 2, we are looking for hash shape in the same direction. They are all in the same direction with only number E, which doesn't make more sense. It looks absolutely different. That's the reason number 2 is being eliminated. Number 3 now. In number 3, if you look at this, again in number 3, we are looking 2 identical shapes. All one shape is, if you look at this one and this one, they're identical. Sorry, this one and this one identical. This one and this one identical. This one is the only one which is not identical, means not same. So if you joined us now, we are on section 4 in the CGP GL assessment paper, and we are doing odd one out. If you missed anything, you will be able to see in the in the recorded telecast, which is there in the group. I'll post in the group. Now we are on number 4. In number 4, that's really visible what we're looking for. All shapes are, if you look at, there are two shapes and they are overlapping. Again, we are looking for the ones which are overlapping, and B is the only one which is not overlapping. Which are not overlapping means, if you see, they're absolutely different. Now I'll do it little like this for you guys to have a look. Now we are on question number 5 in this. What's happening in this one? If you look at number 5, I can see there's a star and there's a semicircle inside the star, and inside the star I can see an arrow. And what's happening to the arrow in this one? The arrow should be pointing towards the gray semicircle. If you look at this one is pointing, this one is pointing, this one is pointing, this one is also pointing, only is this one is not pointing. So that's the odd one out. So let's look at number 6 now. In number 6, this is really easy. Again, what are we looking at number 6? All other figures have an arrowhead which is touching the outline of the right hand shape. So they are touching if you look at the arrow, it's touching here, it's touching here, touching here, it's touching here. So basically the arrow is touching, all other figures have an arrow which is touching the outline of the right hand shape. So they're touching the other shape, basically right hand shape, they're touching that. The one which is not touching is number 6A. So that's the reason we choose that. We have question number 7 in section 4. Question number 7. Again, we are going, what are we looking for? All the other, if you look at the shapes, all the other figures, the two shapes cut out, the last shape, are reflection of each other. If you cut them out, if I cut them out, they are reflection of each other. The only shape which is not a reflection is number E. Now I'm on question number 8 in section 4. Question number 8. If you look at this, what's happening? If I look at the, in this, all other shapes, the two shapes cut from the last shape, we have done this one. All other shapes have one less shape in each row than the row below. So basically the shape is decreasing in them. So we need to look the one which you think is not decreasing. That's the reason we choose number E in this one. In number 8. Now we are on number 9. In number 9, what are we looking for? We are looking for a small triangle. How all the shapes, if you look at all the shapes, they have a small triangle inside on the right side and a hourglass shape. So basically you're looking at the triangle, this one, and you're looking for a hourglass shape. Hourglass shape means if you look at them, all of them have it except number C, which is the odd one out. The last one in this one is number 10. Any idea what's happening here? All the members are just listening today. Nobody's speaking anything. What's happening in this one? In number 10, if you look at that, all other figures have one less dot than the number of curved sides of the shape immediately around the dots. So in this, all the figures have one less dot. So if you look at them, they have less dot with the shapes, this one, and what's happening inside, it's one less. So we are looking at that one now. So with this, we are done with odd one out. Now we are on the main section, mean all the kids struggle in this one. The vertical codes. I have written the codes, what I found in the codes for the kids to understand it better, because this is the way I tell them to do in the tuition. I tell them to look at the shapes, the 3 shapes given to you and the alphabets given to you. What shape represents what alphabet? This is what they need to write down on the side. when they start doing it this way, they'll be able to do it really well after that. So if you look at the first one, the shape what we need to find is a circle, only a circle. So we don't know what the circle would be. For this one, the children need to find what each alphabet represents what shape. If I look at P, what does, I'll normally start with the ones, these two, then these two, and then these two, and see what's similar. If I look at the shape here, I'll go for number X now, because X looks similar, because shape number 1 and shape number 3 has X in this. So basically, what is X? X is the ellipse. Ellipse means this shape here. If you look at this shape here, this side of shape is X. So X would be that. And what is P? If I look at P, P is the solid outline. If you look at the outline, because this one doesn't have the outline, which is basically they're calling, if you call this shape, let's call this the solid outline of that shape, and the shape is similar, so that's why it's X. This shape here, that's X. P is not the dotted one, without dotted one, the solid outline, and R is the dotted outline of the same shape. So we know what X is and what is P is now. So basically we know that we got a circle, we got this shape, and we know that this shape will be P definitely. And if you look at, now I need to find out what is Y. Y is basically a circle, because that's the only shape I don't know what it is. So I'll go for Y is a circle. So that's why your shape number 1 is PY. Now again we have another shape. We need to look what this shape is. In number 2, we need to find number, I'll tell the alphabets which are common. I'll go for that one. So I need to find what K is. Basically, K is the vertical rectangle. If you look at the rectangle which is vertical, that's number K. And all of them, if you look at KP and KR in what's already given to you, now I know what K is in this one. Then I'll go for another one which is similar. Both the shapes 1 and 3 has P. So what is P? P is the hatched rectangle. So that's why I know what P is now. And if I look at this shape what's given to me, this shape will definitely have, its the shape is like this. So I don't know, it doesn't look like, it cannot be KP or LP. So what is L? I need to look what L is first. This shape could be L, because this shape also has something like, this shape has something which is like, if you see here, is something similar with LP1. So I know one alphabet of the shape what we need to find is L. So I'll go for L, and another one I'll go for R, because if you look at the lines of this shape and the lines of the other shape, they look like it's, can you see it now? Yeah, another shape is R, because the dots, if you see the pattern is absolutely same like the pattern of KR. If you look at that, the pattern is absolutely same. That's the reason I chose LR. So I'll tell you again, K is the vertical rectangle, L is the horizontal rectangle, P is the hashed rectangle, and R is the cross hashed rectangle. So that's the reason we choose that one. Now we are on the third one. In the third one, again we need to find which is common. If I look at the shape here, AX and AY, A is common in this. And what's common in both AX and AY? The shape. So basically, the outline shape has, if you look at the sides of the shape, the outline shape has more sides. The shape which has more sides will be A. So I know one thing, what shape they asked me, one alphabet will definitely be A. Another one I need to find, I know the first one is A because of the sides. Now I need to find what the inner shape is. If I look at the inner shape, if I look at AX and BX, the inner shape is the shaded, the one which is has a black shaded one is X. So I know what X is in this one. So only one which is left, the inner shape which is not shaded, which is absolutely plain, it's solid, I'll say that, is Y. So that's the reason I choose AY. So in this way, the kids need to make sure, they need to make sure what shape they are choosing and why. Now you can see this. Now we are on shape number 4. So again, the kids need to make sure what shape is, what is similar with that shape and what's not. If I look at the arrows are, if I see the arrows which are pointing the other side, what's common? Y is common. So let's find what Y is first. In number 4, I'll go for Y first to see. And what's common in this now? The arrows are pointing towards right. So I know that the arrows pointing towards right is Y. And we have the arrow pointing the opposite side, what we need to find. So this cannot have Y in it. And the arrow which is pointing the other side is Z. Because we just found out the arrow pointing the right side is Y, the arrow pointing the left side is Z. So one thing of the shape what I found out is Z. And another thing of the shape I need to find out is what's happening with the inside the shape. If I see that, I know what each thing is now. I know what P is. P is the inner triangle. I know what R is. R is the inner circle. S is the inner square. So in this way, you need to find what each alphabet means in a figure. And that's why I found that one of it is Z. And the only one which I don't know in this one, what the figure is given, let's look at P. If I look at the arrows pointing, all the figures which has the same smaller figure inside is PY. So I know that P is basically is the inner triangle. So I'm also looking for the inner triangle. That's the reason I put PZ. Now number 5 now. Again, we need to find if which alphabet is common and which shape is common. Again, if you look at the one word you need to find is, you need something which has 2 in it. Same like the one which is given to you. And the only thing I can see in the figures which is common alphabet is N. So I need to find out what N is first to find out what figure I need to find. So N is basically in this one, N is 2 black dots. If you look at the dots now, all the figures which has 2 dots, figure number 1 and figure number 2, this one and this one both has 2 dots there. That's why 2 dots is N. I found out what N is now. Another common alphabet which I see in the figures is Y. So I need to find out what Y is now. So if you look at Y, Y is the 5 big rectangles. If you look at the rectangles, we count them. All the figures which has 5 rectangles will be, all the ones which have 5 rectangles will be Y. So I know what Y is now. I know what N is now. But the figure what I need to find doesn't have that. So that's the reason we choose G and X. You need to find out each and every alphabet, what that alphabet represents. Now, if you go for number 6, again, we need to find what alphabet is missing and figure out what shape it is. If you look at numbers, L is common here. So I need to find what L is. L is basically the brackets. Looks like L is the brackets. If you look at L, open brackets like this one here, that's L. But the figure what I have doesn't have brackets like that. So that cannot be L. So what my figure has, if you look at that, my figure has something similar with KX. So I know one thing, outside brackets, The outside one, the shape outside, the one here, this here and here, is same like the one I need to find. So I know one thing, one alphabet of my figure, what I need to find is X. Another thing I need to find is, if I look at, now I need to look inside the shape. What shape looks similar, the one I need to find? That's really easy. The one I need to find is the one which is number 2. And the inner shape, alphabet, they're representing the inner shape is J. So that's why I choose JX. In this, L, P, X, L are representing the outer brackets and things of the shape. And G, J, K, and H are representing inner of the shape. So that's the way how we found this one. Now we are going on number 7. In number 7, again the same thing. We are going to look for number 7. We are looking what's common. Again, I see U is common. So I need to find out what U means first. And does my the shape what I need to find has U or don't have U. So U basically presents 2 black circles. If you look at 2 black circles, any of the shapes which has 2 black circles are represented by alphabet U. So my shape doesn't have 2 black circles. It has 2 white circles and 1 black circle. I need to look the shape which has like something similar to that, has white circles. So I need to make sure what my figure is. First, I need to find out another thing, what each shape represents. My shape also has something similar to CV. So I know one thing, that my shape would be the circle. If you see, look at the cross inside, is absolutely similar to that one. So I know that my shape, one of the alphabets in my shape is V. So I need to find out what the other alphabet in my shape is. So that's why I'm looking at all of them, and I see that what is B? B is basically, if you look at, I found what each alphabet, you need to find what each alphabet is. That's why I'll go for BV. B because the shape what I'm looking for has similar than this one, though it's very similar to the second one. Now I'll go for the last one in this. The last one in this, again we need to find what each one is. A is the common one. So I'll find what A is. A is a gray circle. So the figure what I'm finding doesn't look anything similar to AS, AR or AR or again AS. So I know that my figure might not have A alphabet in it. So I need to think what B is now. If you look at B has a white square. So my shape also has a white square. So I know that the first alphabet of my shape is B. Again, I need to find what else is happening. So if you look at S, my shape is something similar to the one with AS and AS. So that's why I'll go for BS. Now we have completed this one. Now we are on the last section of this one. That's called the complete the series. So we have just joined in. We are doing I'm explaining each and everything of the non-verbal paper. And this is complete the series. This is something really interesting and all the kids really like this one. We need to work out the shapes in this one and see how the shapes are doing. Look at number 1A. Number 1, if I'm looking at this, what is happening? The shape is basically shrinks. I'm looking at the shape. You look at this one and this one, the shape shrinks. And so basically we are looking for the shape that shrinks, similar to the one and that shrinks. That's why in A I choose number 1. I choose A because working from top to bottom, the outer shape shrinks to fit inside the star. sorry, is basically it shrinks to fit inside the star. Let's go for number 2. What's happening in number 2? I can see there are 3 different types of shapes in each one of them. So basically I need to look for the same shape. They have 3 shapes. If we look at this, 1, 2 and 3, and again there's a pattern going on in the shapes. You have 1 shaded, 1 without shade, and 1 solid. So we need to look for the shape in this one, which pattern is going on where. So basically working from top to bottom, each shape moves 1 grid square left. So each shape is moving left to right. We need to make sure about that. The shape in the left hand grid square disappears and a new shape appears in the right hand grid. So there's absolutely a new shape comes. So we need to look for an absolutely new shape. They make a new shape. It's not similar to any of these 2 shapes. So we need to look for an absolutely new shape. And what's happening with them, the shape in the left hand grid square disappears. It does disappears and a new shape comes. The shape does disappears and a new shape comes along with that. Number 3 now. What's happening in number 3? In number 3 you need to make sure. Again we need to look at the shapes. What's happening to the shapes? What's happening to the shapes here? I can see an arrow. I can see a shape. Again, you need to see the shapes are basically, they are sweeping shapes. If you look at this one becomes the big one here and the arrows became the small one here. Again, this one, so basically the small one becomes a big one, the big shape becomes a small shape, and the small shape becomes a big shape. So we need to look for something like that. That's why it cannot be B, C, D and E. The only shape, and I'm looking for, and one more thing I noticed, if you look at the arrow is not shaded in that one and the arrow is shaded in this one here. Arrow is shaded for this one here. So we are looking for a shape which is shaded arrow, and the big shape is not shaded. So this is something happening in both shapes. So we are looking for that one. That's why we choose A. So we are on question number 4. Last one. Oh. Can you see it now? Yes, I think so. You can. Okay. What's happening in number 4? I can see there's a reflection going on this one. Working from left to right, the outer shape reflects across. The whole inner shape shrinks. You look at the inner shape is shrinking. If I look at this one, the shape is shrinking. It shrinks. If you look at this one, the shape shrinks. So in this one, we are working from left to right. The outer shape reflects across. The whole inner shape shrinks and shaded half splits into quarter. So it becomes a quarter and it shrinks. So we are looking at the shape which shrinks, and the same shape. Basically, the shaded quarter now moves to the top and bottom of the inner shape. It's moving to the bottom, to the inner shape. So we are looking for the shape which is, and one more thing I can see is what they have not said, it's rotating. It's rotating like this, and both of these are together. You see the shrinks, goes inside that and becomes 1/4 of that, and this one we need a shape which is the other side of that and shrinks. So that's for number 4 now. Now we are almost towards the end of this shape, complete the series 1. So this is number 5 now. Number 5, again we need to make sure in complete the series, you again have to look for rotation. It can be rotating, it can be shape changing, it can be a new shape adding. So we need to make sure about all these things, what's happening. So in number 5, we need to see what's happening here. Again in this one, I think so it's rotating. If you look at the shapes here, they look like they're rotating. So working from left to right, the convex of the grid square rotates 45 degrees clockwise. So it's rotating only 45 degrees, not 90 degrees. So you need to make sure and tell your child to see the rotation, it's 90 degrees or 45 degrees. That's something the kids should really make sure about that. Now, number 5 is really interesting. Again, in this, they are rotating. And in this one, number 6, again, a rotation is coming. And there are 2 tower rotations happening in this one. If you look at the rotation, the circle is also rotating, and the shape is, the arrows, I'll call the arrow will also rotate, and the circle will also rotate. How much will the arrow rotate and how much will the circle rotate? The arrow, from if you look at the shape in this, working from left to right, the line in the inner circle rotates. The line is only rotating 45 degrees. The line or the arrow in this one, this will only rotate 45 degrees, and the circle will rotate 90 degrees. Sorry, it's the other way around. The circle will rotate 45 degrees and the arrow will rotate 90 degrees. So that's the reason we choose E. Now we are on number 7. Again, I think so it's really obvious in this one. Again, the rotation is happening. So how much? Again, you need to make sure. Tell your kids about the rotation. It could be 45 degrees or 90 degrees. But in this figure, we need to look for the figure which is rotating 90 degrees. It's rotating 90 degrees, not 45 degrees. So we are on the end of this paper, and this is number 8, the last one of this one. In this one, what's happening? Working from left to right, the number of corners in the arrow line increases by 1. If you look at the arrows of line, the arrows increase 1. This is 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. It's increasing. The arrows of the lines increasing. Working from left to right, the number of corners in the line arrow lines increases by 1 in each grid square. The 3 different arrangements of the black and white shape each only appears once in each row. If you look at the shapes, they're all coming only once. And the arrow in that, they are working from left to right. Working from left to right, the number of corners. The corners are increasing. Number of corners in the line arrows increases by 1. So you need to make sure the line arrows increases by 1 and how it's done. If there's any questions now, we are done with this. I have completed the paper with you. I explained you each and everything. And I think if you guys need any other explanation, please let me know. Just give a message in the group. I'll be there to help you guys. And really nice for the members who joined throughout. I know non-verbal could be really boring sometimes, but thanks to watch it throughout. And if you want any other videos for any subject, just let me know. I'll post for you guys. Thanks for watching me. And I wish you guys a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year from ALT Group. And what else can I say? Thanks a ton. Thank you.